Let's roll, Mayor.
You ready?
Yep.
You're not on camera, but okay. I would like to call our regular board meeting to order at 6:37. I am located in the village chambers. The trustees are remotely located. Mr. Clerk, I'm located in the chambers, 2350 South 25th Avenue. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can, Madam President. Trustee Abraham. Trustee Abraham. Yeah, I don't hear Trustee Abraham answering, so I'm going to mark absent. Trustee Chamalave.
Here.
Trustee Senior.
Here.
Mayor Thompson.
Here.
Trustee Shelby.
Here.
Trustee Wimper.
Here.
Trustee Miller. No answer from Trustee Miller, so absent. Madam President, we do have a quorum. Can we all please stand or acknowledge the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance
Pledge
to
allegiance
the
to the flag
United States of America.
to the republic for
which it stands, one nation,
under God,
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. I will now read the Pledge of Civility. In the interest of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community, and understanding that we each may have different ideas for achieving that objective. Now I will ask for a moment of silence. Thank you. Item 2, presentation, we have none. Item 3, communications, none. Item 4, consideration to approve the following minutes. Minutes from the November 3rd, 2025 regular board meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I heard Trustee Senior make the motion to approve. Heard Trustee Chamalave second.
Yes.
Madam President?
Are there any questions about the minutes from November 3rd, 2025?
No.
No question. No.
Okay, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, roll call. Trustee Abraham. Absent. Trustee Chamalave.
Yes.
Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Wimper.
Yes.
Trustee Miller. Absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0 to approve the minutes. Thank you all. Next, item 5, consideration to approve expenditures. Grand total of all funds, $286,150.85 for the period ending November 13th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
So properly motioned by Trustee Senior, seconded by Trustee Shelby. Madam President?
Yes, Trustee Abraham, can you please read the warrant list? You're on mute.
Mayor, I can read them if you want.
Yeah, can you please?
Yes. Okay. The warrant list of November the 13th, 2025. The vendors are Admin Consulting Specialist LLC, $4,500. Air One Equipment Incorporated, $8,189.77. AT&T in the amount of $20,828.13. Baker Tilly US LLP in the amount of $21,756. Broadview Fire Pension, $43,889.40. Broadview Police Pension in the amount of $29,813.88. Broadview Public Library District, $96,411.50. Comcast Business in the amount of $5,157.09. Cook County Department of Public Health, $2,900. Cops and Fire Personnel Testing Services in the amount of $2,691.97. Mercury Systems Corporated in the amount of $6,297.92. Paramedic Billing Services Incorporated in the amount of $6,653.68. Tier Point LLC in the amount of $2,636.87. And Verizon Wireless in the amount of $3,548.16. The total of expenditures over $2,500 came to $255,274.37, which is 89% of our total expenditures in the amount of $286,150.85. We also had some manual payments, and the vendor was North Central Emergency Vehicles. The date was October the 31st, 2025, check number 88907, in the amount of $277,430. The following accounts that were affected by these expenditures, we had the general fund account in the amount of $336.96. We have the motor fuel tax fund in the amount of $1,533.66. And we also had the water and sewage fund in the amount of $1,280.23, again for a grand total of $286,150.85. Madam Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Wimper, do you have any questions or comments about the bills?
No, I don't.
Trustee Chalmalave?
No questions.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Senior?
No questions.
Trustee Abraham?
No questions.
So I will say the check for North Central Emergency Services vehicles, because we typically don't write manual checks in that amount, that was for our new ambulance. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can, Madam President. And for the record, let it reflect that at 6:40 p.m., Trustee Abraham is at the meeting.
Okay.
Roll call. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chalmalave.
Yes.
Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Wimper.
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, this carries 5-0 to pay the bills. Thank you all. Next, item 6, application for the authority to expend funds. We have none. Item 7, village officer reports, which are given at each second meeting of the month, starting with our building department, Commissioner David Upshaw.
So the board reports, we're gonna table that. I haven't gotten all of the department head board reports, or have not reviewed many of them. So I will make sure that you all get them in the email. And if you have any questions about their department head reports, just reach out directly to them about any questions that's in their report. So we can go to the next item. Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
No table needed?
It's just a report.
You
So
on mute.
Let's start here.
I just didn't want to cause feedback. It's just a report, so there should not be any need to table or anything. It's something that appears on the agenda as a matter of course, so we can go ahead and leave that.
Thank you, Madam Attorney. Okay, so skipping item 7, next to item 8, old business, we have none. Item 9, new business. Starting with A motion to establish a consent agenda to include the following items. And for the record, I will read them in right now. The motion, number 1, the motion to accept and approve the preliminary estimate of the 2025 property tax levy collected in 2026 in the amount of $8,774,687 in accordance with the Truth in Taxation Law of Illinois. Number 2, a resolution for the approval of a joint funding agreement for federally funded construction for 21st Street Bridge. Number 3, resolution with the Illinois Department of Transportation for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code, bridge replacement crossing 21st Street over Addison Creek. Number 4, a resolution authorizing and approving an intergovernmental agreement by and between the Village of Broadview and the State of Illinois, acting by and through its Department of Transportation, related to the routine maintenance of state routes in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois. I need a motion.
Motion to
Motion to
approve.
approve. Second.
I heard Trustee Senior make the motion and Trustee Abraham second. Madam President, open for
Yes.
discussion.
Trustee Wimper, do you have any questions or comments about the items?
No questions or comments about the items, but a general comment. I just wanted to let people as they're listening know, sometimes you're wondering why we're coming to meetings and just saying yes as we move forward, but we get these documents in advance of the meeting. So we usually get them on a Thursday. So we've had time to reach out to the directors, the commissioner, the chiefs, and get our questions answered. So when the time for the meeting comes, we're really just ready to vote. It's a business meeting. So it's not like we're just saying yes, and we have not reviewed these things in advance.
Thank you, trustee Whimper. Trustee Malave?
No questions, no comments. Thank you, trustee Wimper.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Thank you. Trustee Senior?
No questions.
Trustee Abraham?
No questions, but I do want to thank trustee Wimper for that comment that yes, we do review all the material because we do get it well in advance and we can get our questions answered by meeting with our department heads or reaching out to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll?
Yep. Roll call coming up. This is again to establish the consent agenda. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Tamalave?
Yes.
Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Wimper?
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, it carries 5-0 to establish the consent agenda. Item B, motion to approve the consent agenda as established.
Motion to
Motion to
approve.
approve.
Motion to approve. Second.
So properly motioned by Trustee Senior, seconded by Trustee Abraham. Madam President.
Any questions or comments from any of the trustees about the consent agenda?
None for me.
No questions.
No.
Mr. Clerk?
Roll call. This is to approve. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave.
Yes.
Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Wimper.
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, this carries 5-0 to approve the consent agenda as established.
Thank you.
Item C, motion to approve any items removed from the consent agenda not applicable. If we approved all, so now we're on to item 10, Village Clerk's report. I have nothing this evening. Item 11, public comments. I'm going to establish that, again, the rules for public comments are to please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And since we don't have anyone live, I did receive several public comments to be read in our virtual meeting this evening via email. All that I'm reading did meet the deadline as posted by Mayor Thompson. Some of these will not be read due to the nature of the language included. Starting with the first one. Dear Mr. McGreer and Village Board, and this is from Nadia Kanhai from Aurora, Illinois. I am disturbed to hear death threats have been made. While I do not approve of DHS's mistreatment of detainees in the Broadview Processing Center, I do not condone violence. At the same time, I'm disturbed by comments othering protesters as out-of-towners. Yes, people have come from out of town to protest at the facility. This is a good thing. It's the practice of First Amendment rights. Othering people is why immigrants are being locked up and abused in the immigration processing facility in Broadview. Othering on top of othering only makes matters worse. I know many faith leaders who come to Broadview as moral and faithful call. They are not there for violence. They come to serve people, whether they are the other or not. We call on Broadview to take a moral stand with immigrants in the community for their families and loved ones. Lead in faith, not fear. Work with faith leaders, not against them. Be part of the solution, not the problem. Thank you. Next public comment. This is from Terry Young. Good evening. My name is Terry Young, and I am the Vice President of Black Men United. A couple of weeks, myself and 7 women came to observe the process at Broadview Village Hall. I never knew that the so-called protesters of the immigration situation were so pernicious. Okay, I'm just reading what's written. Racist and disrespectful. During the meeting, they kept disrupting the meeting And this Caucasian gentleman had the audacity to scream at the first African American woman mayor and first African American chief of police, calling them cowards. And as he walked off under his breath, saying they were incompetent idiots. Disgruntled so-called residents, Miss Angela Patterson and Princess Dempsey simply came to radicalize the crowd and just can't get over the fact that Mayor Thompson landslides them both in elections. After the meeting was over, we walked to our cars, and the racist so-called protesters followed us to our cars and circled us shouting, F that explicitive, B, Mayor Thompson, and were trying to take pictures of our license plates as Princess Dempsey and Angela Patterson sat there and watched with grins on their faces. One of our women volunteers asked them, shouldn't this be a peaceful protest? And this Hispanic guy said, he's not here for peace, he's here for violence. We at BMU push peace and give respect up front to all, because we demand it back. We're here, the Black community, to make it picture perfectly clear that we not only support the mayor, but also will put the racist, obvious Klan members on notice. Broadview is super strong. There isn't an immigration problem in Broadview. Black people don't see this as our issue. Where was all this protesting when Leonard Clark, Laquan McDonald, and Antoinette Young were discriminated against? Since you protesters don't want peace, then maybe the Black community must meet y'all where y'all at. We will not let y'all disrespect our Black leadership and village. I guess it's safe to say, following us as awaken a sleeping giant. None of you deserve the name protesters. I will give you the name WIMP, which is an acronym for, which means weak, incompetent, malingering people. Go back to your racist life. Stay out of the village and recognize that this town overwhelmingly supports this mayor. Don't find out the hard way. Okay. Next is from Manetta Person. Good evening, everyone. Before I begin, I want to be very clear. What I'm about to share comes from a place of love for my community and pride in the village I have called home for 30 years. To those who travel into Broadview to speak as if they know us, let me offer some education and perspective. When George Floyd was murdered and our nation was grieving, our young people, Broadview's and Proviso-owned students organized a peaceful march from this very village hall all the way to Forest Park. We stood for justice, unity, and humanity. We marched with purpose, not provocation. Where were you then? When it was time to stand for racial justice, many of you were nowhere to be found, not here, not marching with our young people, not investing in their courage, leadership, or hope. Black lives and Black communities matter. Yet today, some come into our community fueled by anger, accusation, and disruption, not partnership, not understanding, not respect. Let me be very clear. Broadview is our home, and we take pride in it. We respect our neighbors. We protect our streets. We maintain our property. We keep it clean. We do not have unlimited parking. We do not have public restrooms to accommodate large outside gatherings. And yes, when outside groups leave behind trash, our tax dollars must pay to clean it up. That is not fairness. That is not equity. That is not justice. We absolutely support peaceful protesting. Many of us have stood in protests our entire lives. But peace has standards. Advocacy must coexist with respect, and community must be protected, not exploited. Here in Broadview, we are a village of 8,000 residents who value safety, dignity, order, family, faith, and community pride. We are not perfect, no community is, but we strive every day to operate with kindness, unity, and accountability. Some seem upset, not simply about policies, but about the leadership that set them. Let's call truth what it is. Broadview is a predominantly Black community led by a strong Black woman, supported by an all-female board. That reality should not offend anyone, threaten anyone, or cause anyone to lose respect. We stand with our mayor because she stands with us through pressure, protests, outside criticism, and battles we may not even see or fully understand. Leadership is not easy. Safety decisions are not easy, but we trust the intentions because we live the outcomes. So I close with this. If you come here, come with respect. If you speak here, speak with truth. If you protest here, do so with peace. If you do not value this community, please return to the one you pay taxes in. Because we live here, we love it here, and we are proud of home. Thank you. Next is from Jonathan Platt. My name is Jonathan Platt. I live at 3649 Madison in Brookville, Illinois. First, I want to say that violence should have no part in American life and is totally unacceptable in the course of expressing our political beliefs. I deeply regret hearing that threats have been made to Broadview officials. I think it is also important to challenge the idea that peaceful protesters such as myself and the interfaith church group I have witnessed in Broadview on numerous occasions should be classified as outside agitators who don't belong there. I have been in Broadview to protest the illegal and horrific detention of my neighbors in Little Village, Berwyn, Evanston, and yes, Broadview. When civil human rights are violated, we are all neighbors. The conditions at the Broadview ICE facility are intolerable and not to be condoned, and more than threats to anyone's safety. As far as the Evanston interfaith group's reported violence, I must admit that I was nowhere near Beach Street. I did not see what happened. What I did see, both through video and watching on Lexington, police over and over charging individually into a crowd of standing protesters. They did not form a moving line. Instead, they were banging into protesters in a way that I can only describe as looking like a football linebacker going for a sack. When that is done to people who have linked arms, easy to imagine clergy linking arms, the likelihood for the person charging getting hurt greatly multiplies. I am no expert, but I would ask for an appropriate outside review before accusing these people who have for months been advocating for the welfare of others as an assaulting band of clergy. All right, the next comment is from Catherine Madrigal. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. My name is Kate Madrigal, and I am a Cook County, Illinois resident. I may be out of town, in quotes, by your standards, but I am absolutely a Cook County resident. And when my neighbors are being trafficked to your city, I will show up. I don't need your permission to advocate for human rights in my county. However, I am always respectful of the Broadview residents as this is their hometown, not mine. We are not violent. However, statements like yours are deepening division rather than resolving it. Many of your supporters are choosing to ignore what is happening right in front of them. That silence is not neutrality. It is complicity. And it is disappointing to see a leader choose that route. When will you come see the situation for yourself? A true leader would be on the ground, observing the very avoidable escalation happening at the hands of those wearing badges. You've made it clear you don't want transparency, so please do prepare your office and your police department. The FOIAs are coming. I truly expected better from a woman in a position of authority. While this situation may not be something you asked for, and I can empathize with the weight of that, your response has been immature retaliation against people fighting to preserve constitutional freedoms and basic human rights. Your community is not limited to Broadview. Your community is Cook County. And please, let's stop pretending that Broadview PD is present to ensure safety. That narrative stopped being believable a long time ago. Some days we are only a small group, other days we are hundreds. Yet we are forced into cramped, unconstitutional free speech zones that make safe protesting impossible. Broadview and Cook County officers have pushed entire crowds, leaving no room to move, causing injuries, including to clergy and faith leaders who were thrown to the ground and dragged across the pavement. When did that become safety? And the Broadview officer firing a taser into the air. What exactly is that meant to do? other than intentionally provoke the crowd. That is not leadership. It is harm disguised as authority, and we deserve and demand better. Respectfully, Kate Madrigal. Next, Jackie Barav. I am writing this at 1727, as that's when it came to my attention that there would no longer be a meeting today where we could voice our concerns. Please therefore excuse my very rushed statement. Mayor Thompson, you continue to push a dangerous and disingenuous message about the concerned citizens who come to exercise their First Amendment rights in Broadview. The narrative that they are violent out-of-towners is bizarre to anyone who has ever been to one of these protests. The fact that someone lives 15 minutes away in a neighboring zip code does not diminish their right to protest the unlawful and inhumane things you have allowed to take place in yours. Furthermore, the faith leaders brutalized on Friday morning at your doorstep are not violent criminals. Your unwillingness to stand up to actual violent criminals operating unchecked in your city limits will follow you for the rest of your short political career. It's not too late to do the right thing, Jackie Barav. Next, James Lamoureux. To whom it may concern, I'm writing as an outraged and disappointed community member, and I'm writing to have my voice heard. Not only am I absolute disgust in the fact a dangerous and divisive federal policy is manifesting in Broadview, a community I call home, in an area I live less than 5 minutes away. Katrina Thompson has voiced her concerns on the facility, on the fact inhumane treatment of detainees, on often shaky and dangerous grounds with no evidence of criminal wrongdoing, is commonplace in Broadview, and that she will do everything she can to have this facility shut down. I found hope and pride in this message that a local official is using her platform and voice-to-voice solidarity and disgust in line with her platform as a Democratic Party member and community leader. I remember talking to Chief Mills about a month ago on the subject of ICE in Broadview, local government's ability to challenge federal policy, and what police can and are willing to do to stop violence against protesters from ICE agents and police officers alike. Chief Mills, an individual I knew nothing about, tooted the stability and security measures the Illinois Trust Act enables, saying he values the safety and constitutional rights of protesters to be protected. Since then, since countless instances of violence, destruction of property, use of chemical agents, and bureaucratic power to alienate people physically from protesting at Broadview, I see the actions of Broadview Police Department, Chief Mills, and especially the actions of Mayor Katrina Thompson to be wholly unconstitutional and in active violation of the Illinois Trust Act. I fail to see the mayor is working towards closing the detention center in Broadview, how she is holding ICE agents accountable for terrorizing marginalized communities on the basis of race and ethnicity, let alone holding her own officers accountable for the continued abuse of power, for the use of chemical agents on peaceful protesters, for the suppression of religious freedom and expression in the case of 22, if not more, peaceful clergy members protesting inhumane and illegal conditions in a building that isn't supposed to be a detention center. Mayor Thompson's administration passing an ordinance to outlaw protests and assembly past 6 p.m. is an attack on our constitutional rights, and taking down a much-needed medical tent on the basis of zoning laws is seen to be a direct attack on the community's ability to coordinate protests and lawful assembly while responding to chemical agents and use of violence against protesters. This, frankly, never was a direct protest on police conduct. Many community members understand many local officers are against such a policy of arresting individuals due to having darker skin, due to speaking a language other than English, due to existing as a target laid out by overreaching government policies from Washington. I feel betrayed. I see Mayor Thompson's office and the local police as a force to violate our right to protest. I see the need of Mayor Thompson to seem as an ally to her marginalized and struggling constituents as a political calculation that is every day overshadowed by policies to aid ICE in their efforts, to aid lack of police accountability in cases of police brutality and misconduct. Mayor Thompson stands as a hypocrite. Okay. Next is from Jump Shepherd. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Jump Shepherd, and I grew up here in Broadview. I've always had a favorable view of this village and of your leadership, Mayor Thompson. Broadview has long been a community defined by its sense of dignity and neighborliness. That is why what has unfolded over the past several days has been so deeply troubling, not only to me, but to many who still call Broadview home. From what I've gathered, Broadview residents are overwhelmingly supportive of the protests taking place near the ICE detention facility. People are frustrated by the barriers, the heightened police presence, and the treatment of their neighbors who are peacefully standing up for human rights. Yet instead of embracing that democratic spirit, our institutions appear to be resisting it. ICE continues to operate under the cover of darkness, removing people when the community is least able to witness or respond. That environment of fear is exactly why protesters have stepped up to support families who are afraid to leave their homes. And yet, instead of facilitating that community care, Broadview agencies have actively impeded on it. The mutual aid tent was torn down under the pretense of camping violations. Community donated medical supplies were thrown into a dumpster over supposed sanitation issues. Food donations meant for families too frightened by ICE activity to go outside were mishandled. The village delivered trash cans instead of clean, food-safe bins, then placed misleading food donation flyers on those where am I? The village delivered trash cans instead of clean food safety bins, then placed misleading food donation flyers on those trash cans. I have to ask, why were essential supplies thrown into a dumpster instead of being handled responsibly? We also cannot ignore the escalating use of force. There are documented instances of Illinois State Police beating protesters, clear civil rights violations. Broadview police have been recorded threatening protesters, refusing to take police reports, and labeling peaceful residents as anti-American. That is not the law enforcement in service to the public. That is hostility toward constitutionally protected speech. Mayor Thompson, Chief Mills, Broadview deserves better than this. We deserve transparency. We deserve accountability, and we deserve assurance that our village is not complicit in violating the rights of people who are doing nothing more than feeding their neighbors and standing up for human dignity. Okay. This is from Red Foe. My first interaction with ICE protesters was on November 3rd. Ian Pari stated that officers had posted a notice for their tent to be taken down by Thursday at 10 a.m. And because they left the legal how much I'm sorry, excuse me. Imagine the audacity it must take to think that a mayor and or police department needs to consult with you, a non-resident, non-business owner, nor taxpayer in their community to make an executive decision about the safety and protection of their actual constituency. You stated that instead of abiding by the legal notice, you decided to call the media to record your disobedience. You also suggested that Mayor Katrina and the police department should join your insurgents upon an agency of the U.S. government, a government whose flag you all had just pledged allegiance to minutes before. Instead of fighting our government in the streets, Mayor Katrina fought them in court, and she won. You said police have removed your tent and supplies, a lone beacon of hope, you said. from your hands and then opened fire upon the protesters. Never once did you mention that you all had been repeatedly asked to disperse for hours on end and refused to obey the lawful order. One protester went on to say that although she knew the crowd was dangerously large and police repeatedly asked them to disperse, their cause was more important than public safety, so they remained in place. That meeting had to be adjourned because these self-proclaimed peaceful protesters resorted to aggression with heckling and name-calling. Somehow, while exiting that meeting, my group of 3 men and 9 women became their targets. As we stood outside, baffled by what we had just witnessed, a male protester started recording us. As we headed to our cars, he summoned his crowd to follow us, saying that we had threatened his life in the meeting. So he was recording us for his own safety. They started taunting us, saying, "Who do we think we are? That we were dummies for supporting a government that does like us, that if we'd stop shooting each other in the streets, they might respect us one day." One even called us, and I'm not going to say this word, but they all were cowards and asked to point out who said that, screaming in our faces, I'm not going to say that, as we shouted back, "Peace. You're not peaceful protesters. You're a group of belligerent insurgents who wage vendettas against anyone who does not support your agenda. Those same conditions that you claim to be going on that ICE facility happen at Cook County Jail every day, but you don't advocate for those Americans in distress. You choose to advocate for others who have also had repeatedly been asked to leave but refuse to do so. We don't fight our government in the streets, we fight them at the polls. If you don't like the way government is going, vote more." That concludes that. All right, this is from Ian Perry. Ian says, "Hello, I'm writing because I have a video I'd like to be played at my public comment during tonight's virtual town hall. It's from last Friday, 11/14, at about 10 a.m. Unfortunately, we are not playing videos at this meeting." Next, Rabbi Michael Ben Yosef. The Coalition Against Broadview ICE Facility emphatically denounces the dangerous and reckless actions of, this is hard to read. This is not legible. I'm going to go to this last one. Okay, this is from, okay, I'm going to skip these that have explicit language, and that's going to conclude public comments for the evening. Madam President? You're on mute, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. So I will say this as we conclude. Good evening, everyone, to all of the residents and business stakeholders and those that's watching online. Typically, we will have a board meeting in person, but due to safety protocols, it's best that we do it virtually to protect the integrity of the people that live and work in this village. Our village board of trustees, which is an all-female board, myself, and our village clerk, and our department, and our leadership. I will say that I stand by every decision that has been made as it relates to the village of Broadview. See, it's always interesting to me how people paint the narrative that they want to be portrayed. But just know this, it's multiple lenses and multiple perceptions that's taking place. And so we don't take one narrative, we look at the whole picture. So although we have some public comments tonight, it don't tell the whole story about the village of Broadview and the people that live here and what we do every day. And so with that being said, I wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving. Spend time with your family and tell your family that you love them. Literally say, "I love you." Because a lot of things that's taking place around and surrounding the ICE Center is because people that have not been told that they love someone or that they've been loved. So we practice loving kindness every day, and we continue to practice your safety as it relates to anything over on Beach Street. God bless you and have a good night. I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Senior, seconded by trustee Chamalave to adjourn this evening's meeting. All in favor say aye.
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 Actually, let me take a roll call vote since we are virtual. Trustee Abraham,
You just went on mute, Judy.
She just went on mute.
Yes.
feedback. Okay, thank you. Trustee Chamalave,
Yes.
trustee Senior,
Yes.
trustee Shelby,
Yes.
trustee Wimper,
Yes.
trustee Miller is absent. This meeting is hereby adjourned at 7:17 p.m. Thank you all for coming. God bless and good night.
Good night,
Good night.
everyone.
Love y'all.
Love
I
everyone.
love you too.
Love you all.
We love Broadview. Broadview strong.
Love you strong.
Broadview strong.